Good morning, beloveds. I'm having a bit of an odd Monday. Normally I go to the gym on Monday, but I took a bad step in the park on Saturday, and my knee is kind of like, no. So, I canceled on my trainer, but I did do all of the stretches that I have written down that he's been teaching me, and I'm honestly, he is the reason why whatever bad step I took on Saturday, he's the reason why I still have mobility. He has done a fantastic job of protecting my knee. So yeah, I'm no longer in screaming agony, I'm just in whimpering agony. But I can still walk. I'm just trying to stay off of it as much as possible, and I'm definitely trying to get in to see some kind of physical therapist, doctor. I don't know, because I've definitely pulled something. I don't think I've torn anything or anything like that, but yeah. So, and my cat was like, "Why are you rolling around on the floor? What is this? Can I stand on you?" And I'm just like, "We need to clip your claws." But that's what's going on with me on Monday. Hopefully you're having a better day than I am. But it is Monday, October 12th, and we are in the month of fulfillment, and our title is Spirit Flows Through My Consciousness into Action. All right. There is an eternal springtime in my soul, always rising, but never setting as the sun of my destiny. I refuse to worry about anything. I have complete confidence that the doctor who is always with me is able and willing to direct everything I do, to control my affairs, to lead me into pathways of peace and happiness. I release every sense of condemnation, either against myself or others. I loose every feeling of animosity. I now understand that there is a principle and a presence in every person, gradually drawing that person into the kingdom of good. I know that the kingdom of God is at hand, and I am resolved to enter it, to possess it, and to let it possess me. I have a silent partner within me whose energy is inexhaustible and whose intelligence is without limit. It is life itself. I maintain close communion with my true center, knowing that the divine spirit operates through me now. I know that I am not limited by anything that has happened or by anything that is now happening. I am entering into an entirely new set of conditions and circumstances. That which has no limit is flowing through my consciousness into action. All right. There is an eternal springtime in my soul. He starts out by painting this really amazing picture. So there's an eternal springtime in my soul. I'm not sure what springtime means to you, but generally what I think about, it's a planting season. It's a sprouting season. It's a time where you prepared the soil last winter and you let it rest over the winter. And then in springtime, that's when you go out and you plant your ideas, you plant your seeds, and you watch them sprout. And it is a time of care, which is kind of ironic that we're talking about springtime in the fall because it's October. But it's the time when you take care of your ideas. You water your seeds, you fertilize your seeds, you pull up your weeds. So you really take care of the ground. So there's an eternal springtime of your soul. So you are always planting new ideas. You are always fertilizing new ideas, and you are always weeding out the little things that you don't want. That work never stops. Perhaps there will come a day that we will never have a weedy thought. But until that happens, it is our work to do to make sure we weed out those weedy thoughts. Always rising but never setting is the sun of my destiny. I'm just going to let that one go. I refuse to worry about anything. Worrying doesn't get anywhere. Einstein says worry is a misuse of imagination. Why worry about things? Why not imagine the best outcome rather than worrying about the worst outcome? It's like prepare for the worst and expect the best. So that's fine. Make the preparations you need just in case things go wrong. I mean, i.e., whatever I did to myself in the park. But I have been preparing for that. That's why I work with the trainers. I've been preparing for that day that I took a bad step. I can still walk. And that's the important thing. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to take care of my knee, and I have been taking care of my knee. So now I'm just going to imagine and treat for to resolve whatever I have done. And it may just need rest. Or a different exercise. I have complete confidence that the God who is always with me is able and willing to direct everything I do, to control my affairs, to lead me in the pathways of peace and happiness. Okay, I admit I'm a control freak. I've gotten better. But, so when I see to control my affairs, the language does weird me out just a little bit. But what I have to remember is that I am dealing with a loving presence. I'm not dealing with a judgy accountant in the sky. So when I see that control my affairs, yeah, that language does bother me. But that's my problem. And that's what I have to remind myself. I'm dealing with a loving presence. I'm dealing with loving life. I'm dealing with the good, not the judgy accountant in the sky. So I'm willing to have complete confidence in the God, the loving presence, who is always with me, and that's the truth. That presence is always with me. And that presence is able and willing to direct me in everything I do, if I am willing to accept that direction. I mean, to control my affairs, to lead me in the pathways of peace and happiness. Oh my God, am I willing to be led into the pathways of peace and happiness? Yes. And then occasionally I'm not. I'm human. I'm gonna make mistakes. And that's okay. As long as when I realize I've made a mistake, I back up and I recenter and move back into the pathways of peace and happiness. I release every sense of condemnation, either against myself or others. Yeah. And that's the secret. When we make mistakes, we acknowledge them, we acknowledge the mistakes, and then we do better. And it's the same, and we could give the same grace, and I'm going to use that word grace, to other people. Rather than condemning them. It's not about sweeping the mistake under the rug. It's about acknowledging the mistake and moving forward. Condemnation doesn't get anyone anywhere, and it doesn't feel good. I loose every feeling of animosity. There are people in your life that probably you would prefer not to have in your life, and you are welcome to let them go out of your life. Just release the animosity as well. I now understand that there is a principle and a presence in every person, gradually drawing that person into the kingdom of good. That's a key teaching in science of mind. Everyone is a godling, as Jesse likes to say. Everyone is a godling. And everyone has that divine nature that is drawing them towards the kingdom. Some people are more open to it and more willing. And what we can do for the people who aren't open and willing is just know for their highest and good. That's all we have to do. We don't have to pray for them to reach the kingdom of heaven. They'll get there. Absolutely. And their timeline is not our timeline. So just know for them their highest and their best and let them go. I know that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and I am resolved to enter it, to possess it, and to let it possess me. And I love the fact that he says to let it possess me. Just for a minute, think about what that means to let the kingdom of heaven possess you. I can't describe that. Mostly because this is the first time I've ever heard it, so now I'm gonna have to think about it. That's gonna be something that I'm gonna put in the back of my head and let it ferment. And I encourage you to do the same thing, because we think about entering the kingdom of heaven, we think about possessing the kingdom of heaven, but what does it mean to have the kingdom of heaven to possess you? It's an interesting idea. I have a silent partner within me whose energy is inexhaustible and whose intelligence is without limit. So, when your energy flags, you go to the energy that never runs out. And when you hit the limits of your intelligence, then you go to the source that has no limits on intelligence. It is always available to you. All you have to do is be open, willing, and ask. They do say, frequently I say, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. But when we are dealing with this life principle, the answer is always yes. The question becomes, are we willing to accept the yes? And are we willing to accept the yes in the form that it comes? Because it doesn't always come the way we expect it to. So, it is life itself. I maintain close communion with my true center, knowing that the divine spirit operates through me now. So my true center. We can get off center. And frequently we do. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and occasionally we get knocked a little to the side. And when we get knocked a little to the side, then we remember who we are, come back to our center, we recenter, and that's what spiritual practices are for, to help us recenter and re-acknowledge and move back into those pathways that are good for us. I know that I'm not limited by anything that has happened or by anything that is now happening. Okay, principle is not bound by precedent. The future is not bound by the past. Just because it's been this way doesn't mean it has to be this way. And that is the amazing thing about life. Principle is not bound. We are not bound by anything that has happened, nor anything that is happening. We can move through this into an amazing future. I am entering into an entirely new set of conditions and circumstances. That which has no limits is flowing through my consciousness into action. I have turned up the faucet. I am allowing good to flow through. I am allowing the light. I am allowing God. I am allowing the divine. Whatever word you want to put through that, I'm turning the faucet up and letting it flow through. All right. So our mission today, should we choose to accept it? And I'm going to go with this one because I like it. Our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to let the kingdom of God possess us. Think about that. How does it make you feel? And involve all 5 of your senses. I mean, that's one of the keys to really getting into something like that, is invoke all 5 of your senses. If you let the kingdom of God possess you, what does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it look like? We can paint all of the pretty pictures, the amazing pictures in our mind, and bring them into our world in manifestation. Because like I said, the answer will always be yes if we ask. What it looks like, it's like, we can say the what, we don't get to say the how. And we shouldn't have to, because the how is done by a source of inexhaustible power, intellect, and love. All right. I'm going to move into the rest of the processes of my day, and I'm going to encourage you to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself. I haven't been outside yet today, and that's just weird. I understand it was a warm weekend, and we are in for a couple of cold fronts to cool it back down. So then hopefully we'll be back to opening our windows and letting fresh air in. And allowing fresh perspectives to come in. That's one of the things that doing this book, the 365, has definitely given me, is like every day it gives me a fresh perspective, because it gives me something to think about. And I hope it does for you as well. All right. So do something that engages your mind and your body. And I say open your windows and allow the breath of heaven to remind you that you live in heaven now. But today, we have been asked to think about allowing heaven to possess us. It's a concept I hadn't thought about, so I look forward to seeing how that plays out throughout the day. All right. I will remind you that Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. today. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And I'm just going to get through this week however I can, because all of the things that I would normally do, I'm off of right now. So please know with me that the perfect and right doctor comes through so that I can get back. I can lace my running shoes back up. I miss it. All right, beloveds, have a wonderful day. Do what you need to do to make it a fantastic day. Bye, beloveds.